Hello everyone. So I'm Naval Yamul. In this video, we are going to see the interview questions on Power BI. So let us start with the very first question. That is, what is BI? So BI stands for Business Intelligence. So BI offers us few services or softwares. So that helps us to transform your raw data into an actionable insights. So in a simple and layman's language, if you have a raw data that cannot be analyzed using your traditional method like CSVs or Excel sheets, but if you extract that into your BI tool, you may pull out some seriously important and actionable insights from that. That will help us to grow your business overall. So that is mean by BI. Okay, so continuation with the same question. So there are the question can be, what are the different tools of BI? So when it comes to tools of BI in market, there are many tools of business intelligence, tools of BI. One of the most popular and most powerful BI tool is Power BI. So Microsoft has designed this and developed our business intelligence tool called Power BI. They have launched it in 2011, but they got popularity in 2015 onwards. And the next competitor for Power BI is Tableau. So both have their own advantages and disadvantages. For example, Power BI desktop is absolutely free, but Tableau is not free. And in Power BI, we use a Power Query as a cleaning tool. Power Query is used for cleaning and shaping the data, but Tableau use some other tools, but that relies on the third party. Tableau doesn't have their own tool for cleaning integrated inside this Tableau, so you have to rely on some other third party tool for that. And when it comes to Power BI, the disadvantage with Tableau is Power BI can accept only 1 GB of the file, whereas Tableau can go up to like more than 1 GB. It can go up to, it can handle up to 5 GB, 10 GB also. And when it comes to user interface, Power BI is very simple, because the reason being is it was developed by Microsoft. And if you have been using Microsoft tools, like if you are using Office, if you are using Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you may notice these all like home page, insert page, design, and all this. So you feel comfortable with Microsoft Power BI also. So let me show you. So you get file here, home, insert. So this becomes very familiar as compared to Tableau. Then coming to the third BI tool, you have ThoughtSpot as one of the BI tool, and you have SAP's own BI tool that is called as SAC. SAC is SAP's or SAP Analytic Cloud. AWS has also got their own BI tool. IBM has also got their own BI tool, and there is one more BI tool that is getting very much popular is Qlik. This is also one of the BI tool which is getting popular. But when you look at the survey, Gartners do survey on these tools every year. So from the last 4 years, Gartner's survey says that Power BI stands at the top. So Microsoft Power BI is leading the market of BI tools. Yeah. So moving to the next question, what is Power BI? So Power BI is a business intelligence tool developed by Microsoft that helps us to create interactive data visualizations with the help of your raw data. So it helps us to convert your data into meaningful or actionable uh, visuals. For example, if you are working with an Excel and if you compare that with your Microsoft Power BI, you can create visuals and you can easily pull out the insights from your raw data. And why Power BI is getting so much popular, and the reason being here is Power BI has one cool feature called Get Data. So with this Get Data, you can connect more than 100 plus connectors. For example, you can bring a data from Excel, you can connect CSV, you can connect to a SQL server, even you can connect to the cloud, or if you have any analytic services like Azure Synapse, Azure ADF, or Azure Data Lake, you can connect all that to Power BI. So this is one of the good feature of Power BI. So moving forward to the next question, what are the building blocks of Power BI? So this is something very important. So there are five building blocks of Power BI. One is visualization. So visualization helps us to visual your data with the help of graphs, charts, or any other diagrams. For example, you can plot a pie chart, you can plot a line chart, you can plot a bar chart or map, tree map, etc. Then the second block of Power BI is your data set. So data set is like your raw data. For example, if your data is in your Excel, if your data is in your SQL server, like a relational table, so that is called as your data set. So data set is a collection of data that Power BI uses to create its report or create the visualization. We call that raw data as a data set. Then coming to the next point is our next building block is reports. So reports is a collection of the visuals. So you can create report of multiple pages, but that report is going to create from only one data set. So you can have multiple pages inside your report. So let me show you here. Suppose you have page 1 as your overview page. You can go and deep dive into the sales page. You can create a page on sales, and you can create one more page on suppose segment or product or something like that. So combining all these three pages can become one report. So that is a third building block. Then fourth building block of Power BI is the dashboard. So here comes a picture between or the difference between the report and dashboard. Dashboards can be created only in Power BI service. We will talk about Power BI service, but when it comes to dashboard is a single page, or you can call it as a single layer representation of multiple visuals. You can create a dashboard from multiple reports, but when it comes to report, you have to create report from only one data set, and report can be of multiple pages. Then when you create a dashboard, in a dashboard, one single visual is called as a tile. One single visual is called as a tile. So once we go to the Power BI service, we will see what is dashboard and tile in the coming session. So I'll just repeat five building blocks of Power BI. One is visualization, data set, report, dashboard, and tile. So single visual in a dashboard is called as a tile. Dashboard is a single page or a single layer of representation. Report consists of multiple pages that can be get from one data set. Data set is like a raw data. It can be on Excel sheet or it can be your SQL server relational table. And visualization is like a visual representation of your data. Let us move forward to the next question. In what formats does Power BI available? Or sometimes this question can be asked in this way. Name the three important Power BI tools. So there are three important tools in Power BI. One is Power BI Desktop, that is for your desktop applications. And the limitations for this Power BI Desktop is you should have only Windows to run that. Then the second tool available in Power BI is Power BI Service, that is sometimes called as a SaaS. SaaS means it is like a software as a service. Software as a service means you can take an example of Gmail, you can take an example of any software. You use it like a software. So we are using Power BI Service as a software. It is a cloud-based tool. Then the third tool that comes with Power BI is mobile Power BI app. So this mobile Power BI app works on both Android as well as iPhone users, for iOS users, and this is for the end user. So if the owner of the data set, if the manager of the data set, or whatever the reports you have created in Power BI Desktop, whatever dashboard you have created in Power BI services, that can be seen in the mobile app. So these are the three important tools in Power BI version. Moving forward to the next question, what are the available views in Power BI? So Power BI have three views. So by default, it has a report view. Let me show you hands on here. So when you open the Power BI, by default you will have the report view, that is by default. So these views are on the left side. You can see this three here: report view, where you create your report, where you create your visuals. Second is your data view. So whatever data you bring into your Power BI desktop, that is copied into Power BI engine, and you can see all that tables with columns in the data view. Then the third type of view is the model view. In model view, we create a relationship between the tables. So these are the three types of views in Power BI desktop. Now let us load some data inside Power BI desktop and move forward to our questions. So I am going to fetch a data of Adventure Works sales dataset, which is the dataset of Microsoft itself. So they have provided this sample dataset. So let me pull the Adventure Work sales dataset into Power BI and move further. Let me pick up all the tables here and then click on load. I assume that the data is already cleaned, so I'm not going into Power Query. So we will do that. So let me click on load. Okay, so I have loaded a Adventure Works sales dataset here, and you can see all the tables. Now, till now we have covered 5 questions, like what is BI, what is Power BI, what are the building blocks of Power BI, and what are the 3 important Power BI tools, and what are the available views in Power BI. Now let us move forward to the next question. So I'll take up the next question, that is, what are the major components in Power BI? Let me show you here. So what are the major components of Power BI? So first is Power Query. So Power Query is a transformation tool that helps us to shape the data, clean the data, or get a structured data. So basically in Power Query we do ETL, that is extracting the data and then transforming it and then loading it into the Power BI desktop. So Power Query is one of the tool that works on no code or low code tool. You can do all the transformation with the help of few clicks, but behind the scene there will be one language associated with it. So if you are doing transformation with few clicks, behind the scene there will be one language called as a mashup language. It is also called as a M code language. Let me show you how to get into Power Query. So once you are into Power BI desktop, when you are getting the data into Power BI desktop, you can click on transform there. But once you are into Power BI desktop, you can easily go back to Power Query by clicking on this transform data button here before refresh. So click on transform data, you will be redirected to Power Query. You can see you got a Power Query window here. So you can do transformations here with the help of few clicks. That is about the first component of Power BI, that is Power Query. Then second is Power Pivot. So Power Pivot is sometimes called as data modeling also. So let me minimize this Power Query. So combining these two views, like data view and model view, together called as a pivot, Power Pivot or data modeling. So in data modeling we first build up a relationship between the tables. You can see this, we built up a relationship between the tables. Many times Power BI engine works efficiently and smoothly when you have a data model designed in a star schema. So star schema is like you have only one fact table and you have all the tables as a dim table. So let me click on this and you can see all the tables got a relationship between them, but only one table is not having a relationship between the fact table. We can build that relationship later on. So building a relationship and doing some DAX is called as a power pivot, or it is also called as a data modeling. So this is about the second major component. Third is Power View. So we have already covered that Power View. So if you look at Power BI desktop, the major component is the report view, or it is also called as a power view. And then we have a Power BI desktop. So combining all this, combining Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power View all comes into Power BI desktop. And then you have a Power BI mobile app for both Android and iOS users, which can help you to look into your dashboard and reports seamlessly. So what this Power BI Microsoft people have done, so they already have a Power Query with them. They already have a Power Pivot with them. They had a Power View. So they have clubbed all this into one app and they named it as a Power BI desktop. So these are the major components of Power BI. So now I'll go in deep with the next type of questions based on Power Query. So let us complete some questions based on Power Query, and then data modeling, and then DAX, visuals, and then Power BI service. So when it comes to Power Query, I'll be discussing few questions there itself. So for that, let me open my Power Query. So they can ask you the question like, what are the functions you have used in Power Query? So you can name them like you have used text functions, number functions, date and time functions. Those functions are already available in add column. So they can ask you what is the difference between add column and transform. So if you are using transform, the transformation takes place in the existing column, and when you are using add column, you will get, or you will end up getting a new column or a derived column. And this is what your M code looks like. So if you're doing some transformation, so your M code looks like this. And whatever transformations you are doing here, all will be captured in a applied steps. So all the transformation and all the clicks are captured in this applied steps. You can easily go back and check what is your source and from where it is coming, what is do we have an headers, and did we change the data types, and all those things. And the next question in Power Query can be, what are the data types in Power Query? So if I click on this, sorry, if I click on this, you can see all the data types that are available in Power Query. So similar to other programming language, you have integer, float, percentage, date and time, text functions, and all text data type, and so on. Then coming to view, they can ask you what is column profiling. So column profiling has 3 points here. One is column quality, column distribution, and column profile. So column quality will give you like if you have any errors in your rows, it will give you in the percentage. Moving forward, column distribution will give you what are the distinct values and unique values based on the top 1,000 rows. Then column profile will give you the complete statistics of that particular column. So doing this three is called as a column profiling. So at the very beginning, once you enter into Power Query, doing a column profiling is a must. So if you do it, you will get a quality of your data. Then moving forward, the questions on the Power Query can be, what do you mean by merge and append? So merge helps us to add the tables or add the queries in a column wise. So if you are coming from a SQL background, merge is same as joins, and append is same as union. So if you are coming from SQL background, if you have used union operator or union all operator, append works in a similar ways. But if you want to answer to the interviewer, append works like a row wise. If you want to add the records row wise, we go for the append. If you want to add a column wise, we go for the merge. They can ask you the procedure also. So once you click on the merge query, it will ask you a new tab, a pop-up window will be opened. It will ask you to select the two tables, and it will ask you to select the matching column between that. For example, I have a customers table here, and then I'll select the sales table, and what are the matching records between these two. You can just search for the column here. You can see customer key and customer key are matching. So you can just select these two, and now it is estimating the match between these two tables. And you can see all 18,000 rows have been matched. By default, it is selecting the join kind as left outer, but at any point of time you can change it like left join, right join, inner join, and all those things. So this is about the merge. Similarly, you can work on append. They can ask you on group by. So group by is similar to what we use in SQL. It will group the data according to the row wise. So these are the few questions that can be asked in the Power Query. I hope you are getting this. So whatever changes you have done in the Power Query, you can click on close and apply, or you can just close it, or you can just apply it. So we use close and apply and then redirect to Power BI desktop. So these are the few of the important questions that can be asked in Power Query. So let me make a note of this. They can ask you about the transformations or transformation functions, and they can ask you about merge, append, and about the group by and the procedure to do all this. So once Power Query is done, they can move forward to ask the questions you want. Data modeling. So data modeling is also very important. First, they can ask you what are the types of cardinality. Cardinality. So cardinality in a simple and layman's language is the type of relationship. So you can find that in a data model, or that is also called as a power pivot. So once you click on model view, you can see your schema. You got a star schema here by default. You will discuss about that. Now if you click on any of the relationship, if you hover your cursor, you can see that it is making a relationship between the sales table and the product table, and the relationship between these two is based on the product key column. So if I double click on this, you can see a new window will be popped up as edit relationship, and here is your cardinality. So there are four types of cardinality. One is, first is many to one to one to many, and many to many. So in a simple and layman's language, if you have two tables and if there are many duplicate values inside this, then that becomes many. And if you have other dim table where you have only the unique records or a distinct records in that particular column, then it becomes one. Similarly, you can imagine the other types also. Then moving forward to the important question in cardinality or relationship is your cross filter direction. So by default, when you are working on star schema, it will be many to one and it will be single here. So what does single means? So let me show you here. So if you just zoom this, you can click on this also, zoom. So here the relationship is made from many to one. So what does it mean? Many means this product key has many values or many duplicates, whereas in the product table, in the product key, you have only the unique records. So that means one to many, but the direction is flowing in this way, like the filter is flowing from product table to the sales table, and you can see the single direction here. So whenever you are taking any values or any fields from these two tables, that will be filtered out from product to sales because of this single direction. But in some scenarios, you may let me explain you in this way, because this cross filter direction is very important. So let me explain you in this way. I have one table here, and I have one table here, and also I have one table here. Now I have a relationship between these two, and I have a relationship between these two, and in this I have a cross filter direction which is flowing in this direction here. So just give me 1 second. Okay, so let us imagine that this is a fact table and this is a dim table, and you have the cross filter direction in this way. Suppose if I want to fetch, or if you want to pick one field from this table, one field from this table, and one field from this table, this will not filter out, because the filter is flowing from this dim table to only fact table. And if you're taking fields from these two, it will not filter out, because the reason here is this table is not filtered by the second dimension table. So to work out in this scenario, you need to take this as a cross filter direction at both the side. So if you take this both the side, the fields can be filtered from this dim table to the fact table, from the fact table to the dim table. So here comes a picture of cross filter direction in the both side. So let us do this hands on here. Suppose if I want to build a visual based on the one of the field from the product table and one of the field from the reseller table. So these two are not having any relationship. It has to rely on the fact table, that is sales table. But if you look carefully, the product fields are getting filtered to the sales. You can see single direction, and your reseller is getting filtered with the sales table. You can see the direction. But if I want to make any visual from these two tables, you either need to change the cross filter direction from single to both year or year. So you can double click on this and you can change the cross filter direction from single to both and then click on OK. So now you can easily take the fields and build a visual from reseller to product. So this is the question on cardinality and cross filter direction. Then in the next question on data modeling can be about the schema. So there are two types of schemas can be handled in Power BI engine. One is star schema and other is snowflake schema. So to understand in a simple language, so star schema can have only one fact table and all other dim tables, and the relationship will be many to one. So this exactly is a star schema. So you have one fact table and all the dim tables here. Then what do you mean by snowflake schema? So snowflake schema is like you have one fact table and dim table, and from this dim table one more dim table is derived. Then that becomes a snowflake schema. So these were the questions based on the data modeling. Now let us data modeling, or it is also called as a power pivot. Now let us move forward to the next in power pivot, that is DAX. So DAX is data analysis expression. DAX stands for data analysis expression that helps us to find out some calculations, that helps us to do the calculations or complex calculations in the Power BI by using the language or a soft tool called as a data analysis expression. So there are many functions inside that. So let me show you the documentation about the DAX. Let me write it DAX in Power BI. So you can check out the definition here also. So data analysis expression is a library of functions and operators that combined to build a formulas and expressions in the Power BI or for the analysis services or for the Power Pivot in Excel. So the functions related to DAX are, there are various functions like aggregation functions, date and time functions, filter functions, logical functions, math functions, then text functions and time intelligence functions. So definitely they can ask you what type of functions you have used in your report. So you can open up aggregation functions. So you can see these are all aggregation functions, like you have average, you have sum, you have mean, max, product, all this as a aggregation functions. Then coming to the text functions, so you have a concat function, you have a trim function, you have a lowercase, uppercase functions. So you, even though you can do all this in Power Query, but we recommend using it by using a DAX. The reason is, now once your data is inside your Power BI desktop, so you can do all the transformations by using a DAX language, because we don't recommend you to go back to Power Query at every point of time and do the transformation and come back to Power BI desktop. So you can do the transformation here itself by using a language called as a DAX. So these are the soft functions that are used in DAX. So text functions, then you can say some logical functions, and or if, nested if, and so on. And so you need to mention minimum 2 to 3 functions on every category. So in date and time functions, you can use calendar auto, hour function, today function, year function, month function, and all those things. Then coming to the filter function, in filter function, calculate and filter These are one of the most important functions used across all the reports in Power BI. Then there are few advanced functions called as a time intelligence functions. So in time intelligence functions, you can calculate previous year sale, previous month sale, not only sale, anything, previous year, previous month, previous quarter, same period last year, or QTD, YTD, MTD, that is year to date, quarter to date, month to date, then parallel period, next month, next year, next day, last day, end of the year, dates YTD, dates QTD. These are few of the functions in the time intelligence. So you have to do some hands-on on this to answer the categories inside a DAX. Now coming to the DAX again. So actually there are four types of calculations you can do by using DAX language. Those four are new measure, quick measure, new column, new table. So you write a DAX expression to get a new table. So it can be a derived table or it can be a duplicate of any of the table here. So if you are getting a new table, then it is called as a new table. Suppose if you have any table and if you want to get a derived column out of this, then we call it as a new column. So all this can be done by using a DAX language only. So the important question can be, what do you mean by new measure and new column? So as a name itself indicates, new column is a derived column where the user wanted a row wise calculation. Suppose if he is doing a row wise calculation, then he go for a new column. New measure is a scalar value. It will give you the value only in the data view here. It is not added as a row wise and you cannot see it anywhere in this data view. That is added into the fields here, and there is very less space occupied in a new measure as compared to the new column. Depending upon the use case, you can go for new measure or new column. Then coming to quick measure, so Power BI has recently launched this quick measure. So you can easily do the calculations here. Suppose if you want to do YTD, QTD or any other time intelligence functions without writing a DAX code, you can do that with the help of this quick measure. So let me show you one hands-on here. So you can click on quick measure. So your pane will be opened here, and then you can click on YTD. In YTD it will ask you like what is your base value, on which column do you want to calculate the YTD, and what is the dates. So you can just add the data here. So base value is from the sales table and sales amount, and then the date is from the date table, date column, and click on add. So this will create a new measure by using a quick measure. You can see without writing any code, quick measure has helped us to give a complete DAX query on top of it. You can see this. Now you can pull this new measure into your visual or into your report page and start creating a visual on top of that. So let me show you how to represent a YTD. So let me put this in a table. So this is a sales amount, but to represent YTD, let me take any of the field here. So let me take a date field first. First, let me take date, and then let me take a sales amount, and I can show you how the YTD actually works. YTD works. So here, if I open this, I have created a table which has my date field, and I have sale amount here, and I have the sales amount of YTD. So let me remove the day here, and let me remove the month also. So here you can see we are getting all the same values. The reason here is we have not created any relationship between the date table and your sales table. So this is how important it is to create a relationship between these two. So I have like look into the data. So the relationship between these two is your order date key will be matching with the date key. So let me drag and drop it here. So that will create a relationship between these two tables, that is sales table and the date table. And when I come to this, now you can see in the sales table or in the sales column, you can see the entire sales. But when you look at the sales amount as YTD, so if you add these two, like quarter 3 and quarter 4 of 2017, adding these two, you are getting a result here. So if you look at 2018, so in 2018, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, adding all these four, you can see the total YTD year. YTD year. So this is one way you can represent YTD. If you want, you can put a month also inside this. So let me add a month here. Let me add a month here. And now we can see in 2017's all months from July to December is added, and you can see the result here. Or you can take up different visuals. So I'm now slowly jumping into the visuals also. So let me take a sale amount as a card visual here. So let me take a sales amount and put this in a card visual. So this is my total sales, and let me take a YTD also. Just now we have calculated by using a quick measure. I'll convert this to a card chart. Now you can not see anything. Now let me take a slicer here. Let me take a slicer and put a date inside this. So once I put a date, by default you will get a slider here, but we want to get it in different view. So you can change that by using the format, the visuals, come to the slicer settings, and here I want to change the style from between. I want it in a vertical list. So let me do that vertical list. But once I click on vertical list, I can see all the dates which is starting from 2017 till 2019. So I don't want in this way. So let me come to this field here again, and inside the field I'll change this to date hierarchy. So by default it is date, but I'll change to the date hierarchy. And now I can see that in 2017, 18, 19, 20. So I can do the slicer. Now what is slicer? We will see that. Now if I click on 18, so you can see the 18 month 2018 sale, and this is also showing you the same. Let me change this. Okay, you can see here when I click on 2020, you can concentrate on this. In 2020 the sales is this much, but YTD, that is starting from January to December, your sale is this much. But if you, even though you don't have any sales from July to December, but it will take up as the sales from January to June, like 2,44,000, and there is no sales here, so it will repeat all the sale amount here. So in this case, your total sales and YTD both remains same. But if you want to, if you calculate the previous year's sale, and you can see the difference between those two. So if I want to calculate the previous year by using a DAX, so let me do that. So I'll take a new measure now. New measure. I'm calculating the previous year's sale. So how the previous year's sale syntax work? So let me write previous year, and now before I take previous year, I'll show you the syntax of that. So let me go back to the DAX document here, and inside the time intelligence functions, you have a function called previous year. You can see this previous year. So once I click on the previous year, so you can look at the syntax and the parameters it takes. So parameters, it is taking the date column and it is taking the year end date. But year end date is optional, so we can leave it for now. By default, it will be ending at the December 31st. If you are working on different regions, suppose in India, it will end till 31st March. But here by default, it is December. If you scroll down, and you can see it is taking the previous year in one of the filter. So if you want to use the previous year function, you need to understand how the calculate function works. So for that, let me go to filter function and go to calculate here. So calculate function will first accept a parameter called expression. So what do you want to calculate? So first we need to give an expression, and then we need to add a filters on top of that. So let me come back to my Power BI desktop. Now I'll use a calculate function. In calculate function, I'll use an expression called sum of. So the expression is sum of the sale amount. So I want the sale amount. Sale amount is from the sales table and the sale column. So let me take a sales column here. Sales column from the sales table. It is actually sales amount. So let me take sales amount. So I want to calculate the sum of this and then apply a filter. That filter is my previous year. So I am using a function called previous year, and now in the previous year it is asking me the dates. So let me take a date column that is inside my date table. So date table, date column, and I'm applying a filter based on the date. So let me click on close and run this. So my previous year new measure has been created. Now let me put that in a table here to view this. So I have created it by previous year. So let me put that in a new table here. I'll add here, and let me do that in a card also. You can see here. Now when I show you the table here, so in 2018, what is my previous year sale? If you are in 2018, your previous year sales is 2017. So what is your 2017 year sale? That is 119, and you can see 119 throughout the year. So if you are in 2019, what will be my previous year sales? Previous year sales will be my 2018 sales. So 2018 sales is 3 lakh something. So you can see 3 lakh throughout the year. So I can show you in different way also. Now with the help of card, I can show you. So if I see this is my total sales, this is my previous year. If I click on 18, you can see 8 2018 the current sales is this much, your YTD is this much, and the previous year it means 2017 sales is 11.39. You can verify it somewhere here. If you are in 2021, the 2020 sales is this much, you can see here. Because we don't have any sales in 2021, so that's why you are getting a blanks here. But previous year is 2020, so 2020 sales is this much. Okay. So let us move forward to the next category of questions. So we will talk about the filters. So there are three types of filters that you can apply in your Power BI desktop. So that three types of filters are, so if you click on any of the visual and you can see the filter pane. So there are three types of filters. First is filter on this visual. So whatever filter you are applying, that will be applied only for this visual. Second is filter on this page. So if you want to filter, that will be applied on this entire page. And the third type of filter is filter on all pages. Suppose if you want creating a report and if you want to apply the filter throughout the report level, is called as a filter on all pages. All pages sometimes called as a report level filter. This page is also called as a page level filter, and this visual called as a visual level filter. So there are three types of filters: visual level filter, page level filter, and report level filter. For example, in this scenario, suppose I want to see only the data of 2017 to 2019. I don't want to see these two data. I want to filter out. So I want to apply that throughout this page. So I'll go for page level filter, that is filter on this page. So let me take a date here, just drag and drop it on this page. And now you have an option called basic filtering here, or you can go to advanced filtering also. So when it comes to types of filters inside this, there are three types. One is basic filter, and second is advanced filter, and the third is relative date and time filter. So in basic filter, you can just select a particular or a single record here, or if you go to the advanced filter, you can apply some logic here. For example, show items when the value is or is greater than, or is after, is before, and so on. So let me take is after, and you can specify a particular time. So I want to see all the data after 2019, for example. So let me click on this, click on the year, so 2019, or let me take the 1st Jan 2020. Okay, so let me click on this and click on filter. So now I can see all the data that is being filtered after 1st Jan 2020. So here we had a previous year column, so that's why this visual was not able to select here. So you can apply not only for the date column, you can apply for any other field also. For example, if I take a country or a region, and if I want to see only US sales, you can click on US sales and you can see all the table and all the visuals have been filtered out with the help of the state US. You can particularly select any other country, and your all your report level has been filtered out to the country called Canada or France or something like that. So this is how we use a filters. Let us move forward now. After filters, we will talk about visuals now. Visuals. So when it comes to visuals, Power BI has more than 36 inbuilt visuals. In that 36 inbuilt visuals, there are 4 to 5 visuals that are AI visuals, 4 visuals. AI visuals are called as an artificial intelligence. So to name a few AI visuals, Q&A is one of that. Key influencer is one of the visual. Decomposition, it looks like a decomposition tree. It is also falls under the category of AI visual. And smart narrative, this creates a summary of your entire report in a documented way by using this smart narrative visual that comes under the AI visual. Then the important visuals you need to work on is map. There are two types of map. One is a normal map and second is a filled map. So when you are working on filled map, that entire area will be filled. So when you choose any of the map, it will ask you for the location and it will ask you for the other values like legend, latitude, longitude, but the mandatory thing is location. So if I take country and drag and drop it in the country, and you can see here, it will show you the map where you are having a sale. So you can see I am having a sale for all these countries and you can see the detail here. And if you want to increase this bubble size based on the sales, quantity, profit, anything, you can drag and drop that field inside this field called as a bubble size. Suppose if I want to know the sales based on this country wise, so you can just drag the sales amount and drop it into the bubble size, and you can see the bubble size has been slightly increased. Now in this data set, most of the data is almost same, so you cannot see much difference. But if you take any other field, you may see the increase in the bubble size. That is about the map. So if you change this map to a filled map, you can see that entire region will be filled. So you can see the North America, Canada, Europe, and also this Australia has been filled. So this is the difference between mapped and filled map. Okay, so this was about the maps. So to talk about one of the important visual in Power BI is the slicer. So what is the difference between slicer and filter? So slicer acts like a visual. You can take slicer in your report, whereas filter, it will filter out and give you the details in your report. So slicer can be applied in different styles, whereas visual cannot be done in different styles. And slicer can be taken and can be synced to different pages also, whereas are filters cannot be synced to other pages. So filters are of three types we have discussed in detail. So slicer and filter both will filter out the data according to the rows, but slicer is slicer can be taken in a report as a visual and filters cannot be taken. So this was about the slices. Now coming to the next point about KPI. So there is one visual called as a KPI. So let me take that in a new page. So this is called as a KPI. KPI stands for key performance indicator. In with the help of this KPI visual, you can easily tell us or tell the data that where exactly you are. So suppose if you are doing a KPI for the sales column, we can easily say that where we are exactly. Are we behind the sales or are we ahead of the sale when you compare it to the previous year's sale? For example, I will take a visual here. So as a KPI visual, and let me take the sales amount inside this. So it goes into the value as a sales amount here, and let me add a target as my previous year's sale. So if you remember, we have calculated the previous year's as a new measure. Let me drag and drop it into the target here. Okay, let me add few visuals here. So I have taken a previous year as a card visual and sum of sales as a card visual, and taken a slicer here. So I've taken a KPI visual here. So KPI will help us to know exactly where we are. So how much progress we are making towards our goal. So in this scenario, I'm going to take my target goal as my previous year's goal. So let me take a value as my sales amount. Let me take the value as my sales amount, drag and drop it. And now let me take a trend axis. I want to see based on the date. So here you need to be very careful. Just you need to change this date to the date hierarchy. Now you will get a correct results. Now my target, you can set up any target. You can create one DAX and set up that my target is 200 million, 300 million and so on. And you can put that measure into the target. But let me do the target from the previous year. So let me drag and drop the target into the previous year. Now, with the help of these four visuals, I'll show you how the KPI works. So if I take the year 2018, so my previous year sales is 11.93 million and 2018 sale is 30 million. So if you look at the difference between these two, there is almost 155 percentage growth. So that's why it is showing you in the green color. So we have achieved our goal with 155%. So if I click on to 2020, in 2020 your 2019 sales was 42 million and this year's sale is around 24 million. So we are almost at the loss. So it is showing you in the red color. We have not achieved the goal. Instead, we are at minus 42% behind our targeted goal. So this is how your KPI looks like. So this is about your KPI visual. So one more, like if you want to look at the target, if you look at the KPI, that is key performance indicator, every data set can have a different KPIs. We just now we talked about a KPI visual that is present inside a Power BI desktop as a visual. So you can calculate the KPI by using a gauge chart also. You can take a gauge chart here. So with this gauge chart, you can also keep up the target. You can set a target and all those things. So let me show you. Once I take a gauge chart, let me add a sales amount inside this sales amount. So once you take a gauge chart, by default you will get a minimum value as 0, maximum value as whatever value is there inside this, it will double and it will give you the maximum value. So here we have chosen a slicer. Let me remove this, and now you can see your sale amount is 109 and the maximum value is the double of this. You can change all this by going to the formatting option here. You can click on this gauge axis and you can select maximum. This is by default. You can change the value you want. Suppose I want to set my maximum as 200 million. You can do that, or 300 million. You can change that easily by changing this maximum and minimum value. So let me put 300 million and my target is suppose 150 million. So let me put 150 here and you can see this target line here. So my target is 150 million. So if I reach this, I can say that I have reached my KPI, or I have completed my key performance indicator. So we can do that with the help of gauge chart also, or with the help of KPI visual also. So these are few of the inbuilt visuals. So apart from this, if you want to do anything extra, if you want to pull out some third party visuals, you can do that with the help of get more visual option here. In that you have get more visuals. So once you click on it, so you'll get a window popped up, but for that you need to sign in for Power BI desktop using your email organization. If you are not signing up with the help of your email organization, you may not able to see this Power BI visuals. So these are all visuals that are custom visuals. These are called as a custom visuals. There are hundreds of visuals, you can work on it. So if someone is asking you, have you tried any custom visual, so I request you to try scroller here, and you can try like sunburst, you can try Sankey chart, or you can try the advanced chart. You can try to 4 to 5 custom visuals for your interview. Then coming to the next AI visuals. So one of the important AI visual is Q&A. So Q&A plays a very important role. So this Q&A visual actually is one of the Microsoft product that works on the natural language. So this works as a AI. So let me show you how the Q&A visual works. So you can take a Q&A visual from here, you can take a Q&A visual from here, or you can just double click on your report page and your Q&A visual will be popped up. You can see this. So this is called as a Q&A visual. So with the help of simple natural language, you can get all the answers from this report. Suppose if I write sales amount, if I write sales amount and press enter, so automatically the sales amount will be calculated for you, and you can see your sales amount is here. So this will accept a simple natural language, and that will create everything for you. This AI, this Q&A AI visual will create for you. Suppose I want to find out sales amount versus I want to know the country, or for example, let me check. I have a product table and I want to know the sales amount versus product. So this AI visual will help us to give a visual. You can see it is giving you a visual by default by just writing two lines here in a simple language. It is giving you a visual. You can take this visual and save it in your report by just clicking on this. By this clicking on this, you can turn your Q&A visual to a visual that you can save it in your report. You can see this. So this is a visual what we have created by using a Q&A. So there is a lot of thing you can do in a Q&A. So this is just a sample.